And what happened, like the mission of Blue Ridge is to add value to people's lives. So everything we do is designed around creating moments that can have a positive impact on someone. So later in their life, they might be able to go back to it and go, wow, this changed my life in a positive way. And another day I'm on Facebook, and Ellie and I are linked on Facebook, and I saw a picture she put up, and she's holding this book. It's just in the background of the picture. And like I'm driving back from dropping Maggie off at school, and I text her immediately. I go, Ellie, are you reading that book? You guys, are you reading that book right now? And she goes, yeah. I go, would you come to the winery and give a presentation on that book? And instantly she goes, absolutely. That's what sparked this whole thing. Ellie grew up in the area. She's dynamic, brilliant. This is Ellie.
All right, so the talk for today, it's called Life, Will You Evolve or Repeat? So to evolve really means to develop gradually from a simple to a complex form. So I really want to start by telling you a little bit about my story and how I've evolved today. So, come on in, ladies. There's some seats in the back.
There's 2 seats over here, too.
Yep, there's some seats over here, too.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, so a little bit about myself. As Randy said, I was actually born and raised with my 2 older brothers right on Blue Ridge Road. We were born in a very close-knit family and a very close-knit religious community known as the Jehovah's Witnesses. And growing up, that's all we knew. That's what we grew up around. And then I got a little older and I started to look to the outside world. I started to get to know other people that were outside of our community. And I started to appreciate their thoughts and their beliefs. And it intrigued me that there were so many different religions built off of the Bible. Now, as you can only imagine, my parents and the religion frowned upon my thoughts. And unfortunately, at 18 years old, I was shunned, or what you would call disfellowshipped, from the Jehovah's Witnesses. And as you know, this is a very small town. And I would go to the grocery store, go to the bagel experience, go to the West End Fair, and pass my own brothers who wouldn't even look at me. It was as if I didn't exist anymore. And I was kicked out of my parents' house during my first year of college. I worked at one point 5 part-time jobs while going to school full-time in order to afford my own studio apartment finally. And I was so vulnerable. I had realized how important all these hundreds of people were to me. I lost my childhood best friends. My immediate family all blocked me completely out of their lives. And for years, I actually hid my situation from my extended family, who all live in Kansas, who aren't even Jehovah's Witnesses. My aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my grandparents had no idea what was going on. And why did I do that? Because somehow this religion made me feel like I should be ashamed, like I did something wrong. And then I got myself in a major depression while I was at ESU, and I turned to one of ESU's psychologists, and that woman saved my life. She made me realize that it's okay to change. She made me realize that I can love myself how as I am. And she got me out of an extremely toxic relationship that I was in. She made me be okay and be able to even stand here in front of you today. Now, we came to the realization after 2 years that I basically had 2 choices. I could evolve and respect my parents and my brothers and their beliefs and express my appreciation that they're allowed to believe what they believe. But in that instance, I had to move forward without them. Or option 2, I could go back. I could conform to a belief that I didn't truly believe in. I could go back to a religion just so I could see my friends and family again. I could repeat exactly what I was told to do every day since I was born. Now here I am, 8 years later, standing in front of you today, and if you're guessing, I chose option 1. I'm still shunned by the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I guarantee you there's probably some people upstairs that know me and that know my family. They wouldn't dare to come down here because they're not allowed to associate with me. They're so wrapped up in their own belief system that I don't matter. I had to build myself up from the bottom. I had to use my vulnerability that this religion put upon me to get strong. And you know what? I graduated college. Might have been a semester late, but I graduated college. I am now one of the managers at Anytime Fitness in Broadensville. I have met the most amazing people that are now my immediate family, some of those that are in this room right now. And those are the people that are supporting me. Now, lastly, I got to marry my best friend. And we actually got married right at this winery last August. And I actually stood in this room before the ceremony. I stood behind those 2 doors in front of that exit sign. And I breathed, and I realized that I had to walk down that aisle by myself. Why? Because my dad told me he couldn't. Now, granted, my parents did come to the ceremony. They chose not to come to the reception. My brothers chose not to be involved whatsoever. And I had my uncle, my friends' fathers all offering to walk me down the aisle. But at that point, it was pride. I had to do it by myself. And I knew that I had come that far, that I had to do it. And I thought about my dad. I never, ever wanted to replace my dad. I love him very much, and I'll always be his little girl. But at the same time, I didn't need him. I had came that far. I did what I had to do, and I was going to walk down that aisle by myself. So, as if that day wasn't emotional enough, I walked down the aisle, and halfway down the aisle, Ryan met me there. Ryan met me there to show that I wasn't alone anymore. And we were a team. I didn't have to do this alone. And from that point forward, I knew everything was going to be fine. That day, we made it perfect. And we knew that we were going to live our lives our way, and that's all that mattered. And you know what? My parents and my brothers missed out. They lost out, and they left their flesh and blood for a religion. And what kills me most is my brothers haven't even met my husband. Not once. We've been together 5 years next month, and they've never met him. Which is sad because my brothers are honestly amazing people. So are my parents. And the best way I can describe it is they're stuck in a bubble that they can't seem to pop. Now, don't get me wrong, organized religion is about connection, and connection is why we're all here today, right? We all want to connect, we want that relationship. And it's brought large groups of people together. It's brought hope, joy, peace. But for me, it's brought nothing but hardship. And why? You know, I ask myself why this happened. Aren't we all entitled to our own opinions, right? Aren't we all entitled to believe what we believe and not be judged for that? So I now believe that being spiritual is completely different than being religious. I believe that believing in a higher presence is so important. That's what gives us hope. That's what gives us joy. That gives us comfort. But at the same time, it's your voice. It is your energy. It is your courage that will be remembered, and it's going to live on. So today I want you to evolve with me, and I want you to realize that you are never stuck in any situation. We're not trees, right? Trees are rooted to the ground. We're not not bear, we're not deer, we don't wander in the wild. We are human, and we have the capacity and the freedom to do and be whatever we want. Nothing's going to hold you down. Not family, not tradition, not religion. Your life truly begins at the end of your comfort zone. Now, I'm not here to talk about religion, so we're going to leave it at that. I'm just here to tell my story in hopes that it will inspire you in some way. And I'm here to tell you that it's okay to be and do what you want. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to not follow some traditions. And as Randy had mentioned earlier, this all based off a book. So I have the chalkboard up front here of 2 recommendations I really have. The first one is the book that really motivated me to be here today, and that's Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. The second one is a podcast that I absolutely enjoy. It's called Live Happy Now. They're 20-minute podcasts, super cute, about life, about happiness. So 2 things I recommend. But today we're going to mostly focus on Daring Greatly, the book there. And she speaks the entire book about shame and vulnerability. Now, biggest thing is, what do you think about when you think of vulnerability? When are you vulnerable? So in my case, it was leaving everything I knew to find my own happiness. But what about simply saying I love you for the first time? Or waiting for test results from a doctor? Or having to lay someone off from work? Or getting pregnant after a miscarriage? Or what about just having to ask for help? Do any of those questions or statements mean that you're unworthy of living life to the fullest? Absolutely not. It just means you're human. And as humans, we're allowed to venture. We're allowed to explore. And I like this quote from Brené's book. She says, vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. So without it, life would repeat. So I believe evolving begins with your energy. So I'm going to use myself as an example here. So I work at the gym, right? And I have been told on several instances now that I am too happy. Thank you. And those of you that know me personally, I know you don't believe that people would ever say that. So, but then I got thinking, and I was like, wait, what does that even mean? What does it mean to be too happy, right? Isn't that our ultimate goal in life? Isn't that what we all strive to do and to be? So why tell me that I was too happy? And then Randy, actually, we were talking about this, and he got me to appreciate that this is why. That we have these people around us that look at us, and they judge us because they're rationalizing their own feelings and their own existence. So those people are pointing at me to make themselves feel better about themselves. And then I thought, okay, how can these people improve their energy? Movement. Movement creates energy. So the more you move, the more active you are. And believe me, if I didn't stay moving, I would have remained in that depression. I would still be there to that day using that as an excuse for every day not doing anything. But instead, I let it motivate me. And I stayed moving and I stayed active. So now, don't think that being told too happy was an insult to me whatsoever. It was probably the best compliment I've ever had. So your energy leads to what you say, to your voice, to your connection, right? Everything's you're communicating with other. That's how we communicate. That's how we connect. And that's why we're all here. But really, it's hard to say what you truly feel. And why? Because you're hoping that whoever's listening to you is going to take what you're saying kindly and not judge. And that takes courage. So I looked up a little actually comes from the root word core, meaning heart. And the earliest definition of courage, this is what it says: to speak one's mind by telling one's heart. Now, if that doesn't relate to me today, I don't know what does, because I have never told my story in public before. It took all I had today to tell you guys that. And why? Because I didn't want to talk down on a religion. And I especially didn't want to make my brothers or my parents look bad at all, because I'm sure they'll probably hear this one day. And why? Because I still care about them so much. And call me crazy, but I've forgiven them. And I love them more than anything. And then I realized that I have changed, and they think that I've changed. But really, what's happened? I've stopped living my life their way. So life's what you make it. Sure, there may be hard times. There's going to be times that make you emotional. There's going to be situations that just suck. And that's kind of how mine does. And it really comes down to what you make of it. Change doesn't have to be a bad thing. I know no one likes change, but sometimes we have to embrace it. An example, we change our eating habits. Why? To lose weight, gain muscle, improve your cholesterol, right? What about changing your sleeping habits? Improves your immune system, better concentration, a healthier heart. Changing the sheets, good for your allergies, good for your acne. Changing your underwear. We get my point, right? Don't ask Ryan about that. We get the point. So, my point is, do we like change? No. But do we do it? Of course we do, or we hope so. So, changing your mindset takes courage and strength, but I absolutely guarantee you it will lead to happiness. Now, are we going to make mistakes? Of course. I'd like to read you a quote that my grandpa used to say. Don't be afraid to make a decision. Some will be right, some will be wrong. Those that are right, bravo to you. The ones that are wrong can almost always be fixed. Simple as that. Now, I think I found the key to moving forward, and it's kindness. So there is actually a tribe in South Africa, and this tribe, when someone in the tribe acts foolishly or unjust, they stop everything they're doing, they bring everyone together to the middle of the town, and they surround this person that falls short. And what do? They throw sticks and stones. No, they don't. They, each and every person, every man, every woman, every child, this may last days, they tell everyone exactly what they love about that man. A good memory they had with him, or a good deed that he did. And at the end, they welcome back in. With open arms. No questions asked. It's done. Whatever he did didn't matter. Because they remembered that we all make mistakes. But the biggest thing is how you react to it. And how kind you are to yourself. We're our worst enemy sometimes. So being kind to yourself and being kind to others really helps you move forward. Life's hard enough. There's no reason to make it harder for the person next to you. Now, what about traditions, right? Traditions are set in stone. They're done for years. They're done for decades. But are they? I'm going to tell you this little story. So, there's a daughter, a mom, a grandma, and a great-grandma. So, the mom and the daughter are making Christmas dinner one night. And they are making this ham, and the daughter turns to the mom and she's like, why do you cut off the ends of the ham? And the mom goes, oh, well, that's how Grandma did it. All right. So the daughter calls Grandma. She said, ask Grandma the same thing. Grandma says, well, I'm not really sure, but that's how my mom taught me how to do it. All right. So we call Great-Grandma. Great-Grandma says, well, I don't really know why your grandma does it, and I certainly have no clue why your mom does it, but I do it because my pan isn't big enough. And in order to fit the ham in, I literally have to cut the ham. So, moral of the story. Our parents teach us amazing things, right? They teach us how to say please and thank you, to look both ways before crossing the road. They teach us how to tie our shoes, right? Simple things. But in our minds, it's embedded that whatever our parents do is the right way to do it, just naturally. So they lead by example and we follow. Now, believe me, our parents mean so well. Mine do. They're great people. They mean well. They want you to live the fullest life. But it's okay. If that tradition works for you, then use it. But if you have a better way to do it, then go right ahead. If the ham fits in your pan, why are you going to cut off the edges? Now, biggest thing is you are capable of doing whatever you need to do. You are human. You are in full control. Don't let someone else tell you how to do it. So I want to thank you guys for coming out today. It was an absolute privilege to be invited here by Randy. It kind of threw me off the wall that he invited me. And the biggest thing why it's a privilege is because Randy has one of the best mottos for this winery. If you look at every single bottle of your wines, what does it say?
Enjoy life.
Enjoy life. One of the simplest sentences, simplest meanings, but such a hard accomplishment. Now, my biggest advice is to stop saying how. How can I do that? How can I say that? How can I change that? And just do it. Find the courage, find the strength, and do what is best for you. If you're happy, that's all that matters. No one is going to judge you for that. Now, there's a quote by John Maxwell, if you know who that is, and I felt like it was a really good quote to end with you guys today. It's, the pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change, and the leader adjusts the sails. So stop complaining. Stop expecting other people to do it for you. You are the only one that is in full control of your life. You can leave the job you hate. You can get out of the relationship, especially if you don't enjoy it anymore. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to work 9 to 5. You don't have to say yes to everything. And you don't have to fake happiness on social media. You just have to be you. Because you deserve it. You deserve to enjoy life. And don't you dare feel bad about those people that choose not to sit next to you on that journey. Because the ones that matter are going to love you unconditionally. No strings attached. And those are the ones that truly matter. But the question will still remain, will you evolve or will you repeat? Thank you, guys.